Did Jesus really live? I get this question all the time, especially from people who have begun deconstructing and have realized that a lot of what we have been taught about Jesus simply isn't true. And I can understand how the next logical thing to ask is, was Jesus even alive? But I'm a person who follows the evidence, and it seems to me that there is plenty of evidence that there was a historical person of Jesus. It's just that the person who actually lived was quite a bit different than the Jesus of faith, the Christ of faith, who we have been talked about. And historical Jesus scholars differentiate between the Jesus of history and the Christ of faith. So I think that Jesus lived because we do have extra biblical sources that talk about Jesus who were around his time. Josephus, the great Jewish historian, Roman historians. However, I also think it's fair to say that John the Baptist was greater known around that time than Jesus. And it wasn't until later where the Jesus movement really took off and Jesus became better known than John the Baptist. I also think that the story of Jesus is one that is unlikely for people to have made up because you have to do a lot of fancy footwork to make Jesus appear to be the winner there, because the Messiah was supposed to be a warrior king who would overthrow the powers that be and reestablish a united kingdom of Israel, and Jesus didn't do that. He was crucified by the people he was supposed to overthrow. So the way you get around that is then in future generations, you have to say, well, Jesus is coming back to do the things that he didn't do while he was alive. And so that's one of the first shifts in the stuff that Jesus actually taught versus what people said about him. So yes, I think that Jesus actually lived. I just think the historical person who lived is a person who is different than the Christ that most of our faith traditions have taught us about. And that's why deconstruction is so important.